going on there, folks? Good morning, good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this July 11th, 2023. About 11:23 a.m. here, Tuesday. Starting off with space weather, we do have a nice flare coming in from the northeastern quadrant, a major sun flare kicking up currently as we speak, almost topping out into the X flare category. Looks like it's finally peaked out here around the M 6.8 level. Again, this is coming off of a far side sunspot region. There it is on the northeastern limb of the sun. Beautiful feature. Notice that bright X-type flare coming in, not an X class, but it's got a little neat X on it. Also, you can see that kicking off over here as well on this imagery. Beautiful feature. Going to have to watch this region as we head throughout the days. Right now, looking at the magnetic structure of this sunspot. Let's see if we can get just a little peek of it. There it is, coming around the northeastern limb of the sun. We've seen this last night showing up as a bright feature on the UV filter image, but now we got a little bit better view of it here on the magnetogram image, showing at least quite a bit of complexity here within that sunspot region. Continue to watch that as it progresses further into view. There is the global D-layer absorption map showing the radio blackout here, centered right around North America area, right over the states, Gulf of Mexico, it looks like. Of course, when this flaring activity happens, there's potential to lose some radio communications out there on high frequency and low frequency navigation systems. But aside from that, that's probably about the most we're going to see from that strong flare. Right now, looks like 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 40, X flare around 10% chance. Far as any major space weather events goes, not really seeing anything kicking up yet on the chart here on the 3-day geomagnetic and aurora forecast. I know we're expecting something on Thursday, supposedly. Everyone's talking about Thursday, but I'm not really seeing anything kicking up here yet. I guess we'll keep an eye on it. Let's look at these other sunspot regions here. Notice the one that is currently flaring over here on the northeastern limb. That was last night's image. We could just barely see it. And when we go to today's image, a better view of it, because it's coming. It looks pretty, looks a little fancy over there. All right, far as the rest of the sunspot regions that are currently facing Earth, I still think we need to watch this area up here on the northwestern quadrant, although that is skipping and jumping off onto the western limb here. Will be out of sight, out of mind in the coming days, but for now still poses a little potential for some strong flaring. Also, sunspot region down here looks a little complex as well. This is a massive core of a sunspot, but it's fairly stable. We're not seeing any dynamic setups around that single core. But definitely keep an eye on this one. This could be a nice flare maker in the coming days. Definitely watch it. All right, let's back out of here and see what we got for earthquake activity. Pull up the last 24 hours of earthquake activity. Of course, yesterday we did have that 6.6. It got upgraded here. Just outside the Puerto Rico Trench region. That was followed up by some smaller aftershock activity, a 4.2 and a 4.4. Still seeing some movement down here across the Puerto Rico Trench area, specifically north of the San Juan area, north of the Virgin Islands area. Showing some deeper movement. So we'll watch this area potentially for some further earthquake activity. One earthquake over here into the Mexico area. Looks like a 4.5 coming in earlier this morning, about 4 o'clock or so. Far as the states go, Oklahoma, Texas, a little spotty activity out there today in the West Coast region here, Southern California. I believe these are all small microquake activity. Let's see what we got for 2.5 and above. Nothing out here along the West Coast. We do have one little earthquake there south of the border, a 3.0. But aside from that, mostly smaller microquakes. Not seeing anything major going on here for swarming. Same for about the Northern California area as well. Pacific Northwest, pretty quiet. Yellowstone area, a handful of smaller quakes out here. Nothing big. Looks like the largest one was over in Idaho, 1.9. Real quick glance at the Yellowstone thumbnails overview. Shows there's the earthquake from yesterday. That 6.6 showed up here. See if we got any earthquake activity. Looks like some type of wind events over here, or thunderstorms potentially coming through right now. I do want to double check that. Let me see what we got here on the windy map. Stand by for just a second. I always like to pull that up and see if that is indeed the it looks like wind right now. There's some wind gusts coming into the Yellowstone area, some heavy duty wind gusts, and mostly around the southeastern corner here of the Yellowstone region, where we're seeing this mark, specifically this area right here. A lot of times those wind events do show up as environmental noise, and that's exactly what's going on right here across the area. So got some wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour, so I'm sure locally higher in certain areas, but that's what we're dealing with there at Yellowstone today. Not a whole lot of earthquake activity though. Alaska region got some smaller quakes up there around the Cook Inlet area, excuse me, and a handful of quakes over here across the Aleutian Trench. Now this is more specifically around a volcano. A handful of smaller quakes, very small earthquake activity there across that region. I'm not for sure what we got for the update from the AVO, the Alaskan Volcano Observatory. Nothing really showing up here for today, but we'll continue to watch a couple of those mentioned volcanoes here. The Great Sitkin Volcano producing a thick lava flow within the summit crater, but not looking at anything blasting off into the air. No explosive events have occurred there at that volcano in the Alaska area. Western Pacific here, pretty quiet. Also down here across the Fiji area, we're not seeing anything today. There's a handful of smaller quakes across the map here on the EMSC globe, showing some TUES across the Java Trench area, and a little bit of activity across the New Guinea region. But for the most part, things are a little quiet over here across the Western Pacific today. New Zealand showing a little bit of smaller activity. It looks like some threes kicking off there. Let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Just give a quick glance here at the GeoNet servers for New Zealand. 3.1 yesterday. Let's see what we got here for today. About an hour ago, 2.2, 2.6. A couple smaller quakes out here around North Island area, it looks like, but I don't think they're having anything major going on. Earthquake drums here shows prevailing calm conditions, aside from a couple smaller microquakes, but that's about it. It looks like there was an earthquake there yesterday. I believe that was at, there's a three-pointer kicking up down there, South Island. But aside from that, things are very quiet there. Look at that, absent of earthquake activity. A little odd. They're into the big island of Hawaii. Most of the movement there around the Pahala area. Not seeing any major changes there at the Kilauea volcano. But I do like to double check and make sure. Let me check the hazard notification system again. Go back here. That's going to be the HVO site. Perfect timing. HVO. Not a whole lot going on there for the Kilauea volcano area. Going to double check though, make sure what these see what these seismograph stations look like. I know we were looking at a little bit of I was starting to think it was the deformation there, or the lack of well, sometimes the lava lake there kind of settles a little bit, lowers on its own, and there was a dramatic deflationary measurement on the tilt meter here. And I believe that's what we were seeing on the seismograph stations here, which now it looks like there's none. But a day or so ago, we were getting this little movement on here that looked like magma, but starting to think that was just the continued deflation of the lava lake area making that noise on the seismograph stations. Earthquake activity very minimal still at the Kilauea Volcano area. Not really seeing anything major going on at all. A look at the tilt meter, the UWE, shows that rapid deflation here. Notice that. It took a nosedive. A little bit of uptick here today, but looks like the overall trend is declining in terms of inflation there at Kilauea Volcano. No earthquake activity really to report around that region. Further to the south, that was just a zigzag pattern of movement here. We did have a earthquake just a little bit. Well, this was from yesterday, huh? I thought we had another one come in. I know we did. I got a notification on it. Let me see here. Yeah, it was a 4.7. Same area as yesterday. Down in the southeast Pacific Rise area. Divergent boundary between the... this is going to be the Antarctica area. Let me show you guys here on this map so you can see a little bit better. Antarctica plate boundary along with the Nazca plate boundary. Almost into that triple point junction here between the Nazca, Antarctica, and the Pacific plate. But this activity should stir up movement across the South America region. We'll keep an eye on that. Either way, there was another 4.7 here. EMSC is reporting that. Did see a little bit of activity last night following that 5.7. Notice that 5.7 coming in first. And then movement over here across the South America region as expected due to the plate dynamics in this area. We'll continue to watch that, though, the South America region. Potentially for some further movement. We are seeing a handful of 2s and 3s here. I don't know what's going on with the quakes here. We just got too many smaller ones. I'm gonna have to might have to readjust that, but either way, USGS and the EMSC model here on the globe looks like a 4-pointer coming in right now. 4.1. Into the this is just cluttered here. It's a pretty good clutter of earthquake activity across the Middle America Trench region. Right in here, we'll continue to watch out for some further movement possibly throughout the day today. A little bit of activity across the South Sandwich Islands area. That earthquake coming in a few hours ago, 5.1, 29 kilometers deep here, about the middle segment of the South Sandwich Islands here, the trench area. Across the Mediterranean region, we do have 4.5 coming in. Looks like the Bosnia area. Been a while since we've seen any activity up there. 4.5. Let's see what we got for historical data. Looks like they do get some activity up here. Just been a little while. Looks like some on the larger size as well. The GNC region seeing that 3.4. That's kind of odd. USGS mentioning that earlier this morning. It looks like about 3 o'clock for that 3.4. EMSC model here should show us some of the smaller quake activity in the region. Looks like the EMSC is reporting that 4.5 as a 4.1, and I'm not for sure why the USGS is not on here. It's a little odd. EMSC, oh, World Last 100. I think I need to change that. Well, I'll get to it a little bit later. All right. Let's see. What do we got for weather activity out here today? Current severe weather outlook. Looks like most of the movement well up north into the northern plains. As you can see, the slight risk category here. Nothing major. Looks like a slight 2% chance for tornado probabilities here across this green shaded area. Wind and hail is going to be the most damaging potential today as that severe weather takes place this afternoon. Far as tomorrow goes, kind of shifts over here to the east slightly within the Midwest region. Tornado potential a little bit broader out there in the 2% range. Again, wind and hail threats the main potential. All right, folks, we're jumping off here. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later on tonight with the nightly update. See ya.